Hi everyone. If you have a narcissistic parent, then you already know. They challenge your choices, question your preferences, and make you feel like you owe them endless explanation. But here's the truth. If you are an adult, some things are not up for debate. I'm Jerry Wise, and for over 45 years, I've helped hundreds of thousands of people break free from narcissistic and dysfunctional family dynamics and help them reclaim their true self and finally build a life of emotional freedom, inner peace, and healthy relationships. In this video, I'm breaking down exactly what you never have to defend, explain, or negotiate with a narcissistic parent. Stay to the end because reclaiming your power starts with knowing where to draw the line. So let's get to it. What should never be up for debate with narcissistic parents? Often I found adult children of narcissists and others who grew up in dysfunctional families never learned or were exposed to what was normal. In other words, nobody ever told them what really shouldn't be up for debate. They assume from their family programming, from being connected to the family emotional superself and to the emotional Wi-Fi of their programming of their family growing up, that all things were up for debate. And a narcissist believes all things are up for debate. Everything they want to debate about, they should have a right to do that. Firstly, your life choices are not up for debate. And this includes who you date, who you marry, or who you befriend, your career and financial decisions, your parenting style, or how you raise your children is your decision, not theirs. You have a right to live according to your own values, goals, and desires without parental interference, or even without parental unsolicited advice. Number two, your boundaries should never be up for debate. I'm not saying we shouldn't be sensitive to making changes in the relationship, or that we understand a change could affect other people through our boundaries. But my boundaries are not up for debate. My physical boundaries, my emotional, and my mental boundaries are not up for debate. You have the right to set limits that protect your well being, regardless of your parents' opinion. You also have a right to your preferences, which may affect your boundaries. In other words, if somebody gives me vanilla ice cream, but I prefer chocolate ice cream, I can then say, oh, no, thank you. I'm sure that's delicious, but I don't want, and I don't really like vanilla ice cream. Yes, but that's what we've bought and that's all we've got. Everybody else is eating it. Why aren't you eating it? No. My preferences are not up for debate. I'm not being impolite by not eating vanilla ice cream. It's not being impolite, mean, or shaming or guilting to anyone if I don't do that. Your boundaries are not up for debate. Number three, your experiences, feelings, and memories are not up for debate. The best people to debate those with is your therapist, is your coach, is your pastor, is a best friend who is wise and can care about you. Your reality is yours. Now, that doesn't mean I might not have it wrong. Of course I can have it wrong, but I have to learn that based on the consequences that may occur. Your parents do not get to rewrite history or invalidate your reality. Your reality is not up for debate. If you know that when you were growing up, there was physical or sexual abuse, for example, and that's common when we were growing up, then them saying, no, I don't think your dad would have ever done that. I don't remember that at all. Well, that's fine that you don't remember it. It is kind of sad that you don't, and I'm not sure why you wouldn't, but that is my recollection, and those are my thoughts. I think, then there's the whole debate we have about false memory, abuse, and things like that. But that's for a whole nother video or a whole nother discussion. Generally, my reality is not up for debate. You can disagree, but my reality is still mine. They can have their reality, and you can have yours. And remember that. Again, I am not you, and you are not me. The better we hold to that, the more we will be able to cooperate, have a compassionate, caring discussion of differences. But I am not you, and you are not me. Number 4, your time, energy, and need for space are not up for debate. You are not obligated to give your parents unlimited access to your life. And in fact, you have a right to relax when you'd like to relax. Oh, we're having our weekly family dinner where everyone is going to be there in the family. You will be there Sunday, right? Maybe I want to rest that day. So I don't have a good enough excuse like, oh, we have to go to a tournament out of town this weekend for our children. No, I have a right to say I have other plans for Sunday and I could join the family the next Sunday. Well, what are you doing? What's going on? I have plans for my life on that day. We don't need to discuss them. It isn't important. If I'd wanted you to know them, I would have told you. Or you can be more forthcoming and say, I need a break and I'm using Sunday as a relaxation and getting caught up on my rest day. And I can own that. So why don't you come over and join the family? No, Sunday is a day I have to rest. Number 5, your beliefs, values, and sense of self are not up for debate. You define who you are, not others. And not your parents, and not a narcissistic parent. Oh, well, you've just always been that way, Jerry. Okay, well, that must be what you think. That isn't how I see me. Number 6, your right to privacy is not up for debate. Your parents are not entitled to every detail of your personal life. We need some boundaries between adults, even if we are blood related. They are not entitled to every aspect of my personal life. I wanted to share with you that I had some good news. I got a promotion at work. And Dad goes, well, how much are you making now? They're not entitled to every detail of your personal life. Well, I think when it's a good time to discuss that, I'll discuss it with you, Dad, when it's a good time, which may be never. Number 7, your right to explore, fail, and take risks is not up for debate. Growth requires freedom to make mistakes without parental judgment. Now, they still may judge you, and we have to work on not caring about that because, again, we can't change them. It's appropriate for parents not to judge that. It is normal for, at all stages of our development in life, we're exploring, we may fail, we take risks. It's not up for debate. I've done some things at 70 years old to experiment and to try and take risks, and that's my choice. If it doesn't work out, guess who gets the consequences? It's me. So I don't think it's appropriate to receive your judgments about it. If you're paying the bills, then we have a different story. Number 8, your level of contact with your parents is not up for debate. You alone decide how much or how little you engage with them, how deep the relationship will be on your side, and even if you like them or not. That's not up for debate. Maybe you don't even like your parents. Believe it or not, many of us would not be friends with our parents if we met them on the street. I'm not saying we have to be mean or mad at them or throw things at them. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying we think their expectations are much more normal than our resistance of them. And I think it's appropriate. I can decide how I relate to you in our relationship. Like with my parents, how much we had in common was very little. Some things we had in common, but mostly not. Why am I going to go and talk 6 hours? We don't even have things in common. It doesn't mean I dislike them, and maybe there's some parts I dislike, and maybe they dislike some parts of me. That's their right too. You alone decide how deep the relationship will be on your side. And even if you like them or don't like them, is up to you. For parents, we don't have to be buddies, parented, childlike, or best friend, or even close friend. And it can be very normal, even if we're not all those things. We can be cordial, we can be respectful, we can be all those things, but I may not want to be a best friend or buddy. I don't want to feel childlike in their presence. And if the relationship requires that I be childlike while they be parenting or parenting me, that's not going to work for me very well. And I may have to communicate that. And that's a boundary. Number 9, your body, your health, and medical choices are not up for debate. You have full autonomy over your physical and mental well being, no matter what your narcissistic parents think. Many would say, oh, you're not going to therapy, are you? You know, those therapists are just wacko crazy guys or women. But that's not my belief. I believe there are some crazy therapists out there and some crazy coaches. Of course there are. But that doesn't mean all therapists are bad or they couldn't benefit from therapy or coaching. And I have certainly my own self spent many years in therapy. And that, oh, well, you just need to pray more. You need to be more religious. No. I get to decide about my own recovery, healing, and how I want to do that, and my own spirituality. Number 10, your emotional independence is not up for debate. You are not responsible for managing your parents' emotions, soothing their anxieties, or protecting them from their dysfunction. You are not responsible for their discomfort regarding you being different, healthy, or mature. Number 11, your right to detachment and changing your emotional location in the family is not up for debate. I can choose to not be treated like a scapegoat. I can choose to not be sympathetic to a sibling who is always overdramatic and claims the world treats them so terribly more than anyone else on earth. I don't have to be sympathetic to that. I can understand that's where they're at. That's their issue. That's fine. But I don't have to play along like the rest of the family does. I don't have to feel sorry or enable a father who won't quit drinking excessively. I have a right to choose tough love if I want to. Now, there may be consequences for me doing that, but I have a right to do that. Oh, well, that's just your dad. He's very busy. He had a hard life growing up, and he has a difficult life as an adult. And, we just have to just be respectful and enable him and his excessive drinking in which he is killing himself with alcohol. I don't have to go along with that program. And I don't have to be nasty about it or mean about it. I can even be compassionate about it and not go along with the family play or the family game or the family system. I can ask that others in the family not discuss religion or politics with me at family gatherings. I can't decide what people talk to other people about, but for me, I've not found that to be helpful. Having been a pastor, having had a degree in political science, I can talk politics or religion, but I choose not to because often it is way too connected with the feeling system and not the thought system. And if you want to get wrapped up all in that, then just start talking to folks about politics or religion, and you'll find out how much feel think is going on. In other words, they're having their feelings, opinions, and beliefs, and it just jumps right up to what they think. So I choose not to do that. You are allowed to emotionally detach from your parents' dysfunction without guilt. And number 12, your preferences and boundaries are not up for debate. Narcissistic parents often demand explanation to manipulate or to argue. You do not owe them justification for your choices. I think as a human being, I try to be empathetic to other people. Your car choice, your choice of wedding location, fashion choices, whether you get a haircut or not, or whether you choose to be a vegetarian, or you choose to get a particular pet, are your choices to make. You don't have to explain that, defend that, or be defensive about that. You simply say, yes, I did get a pet snake. I've always wanted a pet snake. Well, I don't know why you would have a pet snake. Da, da, da. Well, that's because you wouldn't have a pet snake. I assume is why you wouldn't get one. But you are you and I am me. And I wanted a pet snake. 13. You are not your parents' supply. And that is not up for debate. You do not exist to feed their ego, play their emotional games, or serve as their audience. I get to not play in the relationship triangles with the other parent or other family members. In other words, I may not want to discuss that. Well, did you hear about what your aunt said to cousin Joey? And it's like, no, I wasn't even there. Well, what do you think about this and what she said? I have no thoughts about it. I wasn't there. And it sounds like something my aunt and cousin Joey will need to work out. That's what I think. Number 14, your healing journey is not up for debate. You don't need your parents' permission or approval to heal, recover, learn your choice of therapist or coach, your spirituality, or that you choose to change. That is not up for debate. If you're ready to finally break free and build a life filled with emotional freedom, inner peace, and healthy relationships, join my free training today. There's a link below. Over 30,000 people have taken this training and used it to build a strong, confident sense of self. Free from guilt, control, and manipulation? Click the link below and get started. And don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon so you never miss a new video. I want to thank you for watching. Have a great day and be wise.